Wednesday. And I open my eyes.
Wednesday.
Slowly.
I open my eyes slowly.
We should do it like that. I open my eyes slowly.
I
Everything's just
open
like a
my
sing-song.
eyes.
Everything's in like kind of sing-song manner.
That'd be
It's a party
awful.
day after all.
I mean,
It
yeah,
would
it
be
is
awful.
the party day. The pressure in my head tells me. The pressure in my head tells me I didn't get nearly enough sleep. Not really surprised, considering we were both up until 3, and our own ghost adventure a few hours later didn't help things. I hear the doorbell and realize that's what had woken me up. Groaning, I reach under my pillow and feel around for a few seconds before I find my phone. The lump that is Carl under the blankets near my feet doesn't even budge. He doesn't
He
even
does bulge
bulge.
though. He
Yeah.
does bulge, but he doesn't budge.
Yeah, he's having nice dreams.
Got some good
That
vibrations.
that was the cool thing about having Carl as a roommate. He slept like a fucking rock. I did pretty much anything I wanted to, and didn't have to worry about him reporting me to the RA. Even something like jerking off. That only happened a few times though. The rabbit I'm rooming with now is a different story. Again, the doorbell. I glance at my phone. 10 a.m. I also noticed that I have 5 texts and 2 calls.
Hey. Sorry, hey. On way to Carl's house for surprise party. Make sure you're ready. Hey, yo?
That sounds like the reverse of a surprise party. I look down, then nudge some part of Carl with my foot. Judging by the thickness and consistency, I'm pretty sure it's his ass. He grunts.
No. What?
I think someone's at the door. He doesn't say anything, and a few seconds later, his guttural snore starts up again. This time, I really dig my foot in, and he yelps loudly, sitting up so fast his horns bang against the wall. He squints against the sunlight pouring in between the blinds, which turns his emerald eyes into an almost mint green. He raises a paw to block the light and looks at me, frowning.
What the hell was that?
That must make me think of like those characters who are supposed to be like Soviet people in movies. What the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
The doorbell goes off again. Door. Carl blinks at me, then slumps back down on his pillow, waving a paw lazily in the air.
Let it ring. They'll go away eventually.
Huh? Are you sure? He flops his paw around again.
Solicitor, trust me. They see this house and make a beeline. No one ever visits.
I sigh, looking back down at my phone. Oh, look, Leo texted me. That's probably him at the door. I guess my tone of surprise was a little too fake because Carl sits up and eyes me suspiciously.
Well, you can go ahead and answer it. You're allowed to touch my door.
I sigh a little harder this time. Damn it, Carl. Fine. They're planning a surprise birthday party for you, so go down there, answer the door, and act surprised.
What?
But Carl isn't just confused, he looks genuinely upset. He leans into the corner and pulls up the blanket like he's preparing to ward off the boogeyman.
My birthday isn't until next month.
I pause, watching him. I know, but we didn't have much to do, so Leo thought. I slide off the bed and start pulling on my jeans and shirt. Come on, I'll go down with you. Carl covers his face and rubs and rubs hard, the short fur on his muzzle bristling out in little spikes around his fingers.
I just wanted to relax today, you know?
Isn't that every day for you? I laugh to lighten the jab, but Carl just frowns.
Well, not with you.
I'm starting to wonder if all this isolation has worsened Carl's issues. He really has gotten the if he really has gotten the help he needs. That all of this hiding out has just blanketed the problem and let it fester underneath. We can relax. We're all friends here, Carl. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Come on, boy. Come on.
Who's a good Carl?
It's a girl.
I pick up his clothes. I pick up his clothes on. I pick up his clothes left on the floor from yesterday and toss them at him. I'm at least relieved to see him putting them on, even if it's reluctant. My phone buzzes a few more times, but I ignore it and patiently wait for Carl to finish getting dressed. I think this'll be a lot of fun. He doesn't say anything as he slowly rolls off the bed and pulls on his shorts.
So, just before we continue, uh, I do want to point out that we should be. I don't know how many people are actually stuck in the same rut that Carl is in real life. So, anyone that's watching or could watch might be offended by us going, "Come on, boy, let's go! Clap, 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 clap! You can do it!"
Who's that good girl? But
Who's that good Carl?
no, like so.
Who's
Like,
your alarm?
so I mean, this
Sorry.
is a real thing. Like when people get hurt, they like to isolate. They like to
Hmm.
hide. You know, just like any other animal. And so if like the absolute worst thing that you can do in many cases is just isolate. Sometimes it's a good thing because it gives you the opportunity to de-stress and essentially let your brain rest. So like sometimes it's good for you. However, what tends to happen is people isolate and then they get used to that feeling of isolation where they don't have to go outside. And now you have somebody who pretty much just stays in their room, like all day, every day, playing video games or reading books or studying or doing anything that they can to just remain in one room and just never actually going outside. Like Discord and streams and stuff like this, like that's all nice, but it's not the real thing. Like you do want to go out there and actually be around other living, breathing humans in the flesh.
Yeah.
So,
Just wanted to point that out, though.
yeah, like,
Although what you said does strike me as it does remind me of something. I think it started in Japan and it spread out to some
are
other.
you talking about
Uh,
Hikikomori?
yeah, hikikomori.
Yeah, Hikikomori. Um, doesn't that effectively just translate to shut-ins
I
or
don't
something
really
like
know
that?
what it. I should probably look that up, but yeah, basically they just shut themselves off completely, and at least in Japan, like the family will support them, like leave food outside
Yeah,
the door, knock, and then when they're done eating, they'll put the food out
yeah,
outside the door, and they'll do it. But other I guess like the COVID crisis actually probably helped Hokikimori because now they could just order Uber Eats, wait until the knock's there, and then watch the person leave and snack their food and just go back to their shelter.
yeah. And like another
Or
thing, go ahead.
I think I read what they would do before like all the delivery services came out is like they would just go to vending machines in Japan because they're so plentiful. They'd get literally anything they needed for like the day or the next couple days, and then just go have all the appliances they need in their room and just live there. And just hopefully when they snuck out at the middle in the middle of the night, they would find absolutely nobody.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And there is something called I think it's called agoraphobia.
Let's find out what that is, kids.
What's that?
I said, let's find out what that is, kids.
So agoraphobia is the fear of going outside and like wait, I'm thinking of generalized. Anyway, there are people who have such extreme anxiety about even going outside that they kind of get stuck, shut in. I think there were several actresses who got diagnosed with this and then had to go to therapy for it. But yeah, being super isolated all the time is really bad for you. Video games in excess are bad for you. Um, there are video games that can be kind of nice, like FF14 or something. The story's pretty much a very hopeful thing, and
Hmm.
so that can help some people who are going through some really rough stuff. There are all kinds of things out there that can really help you, but the thing to keep in mind is you do want to go and deal in person with living, breathing people. Pets are nice, but a pet doesn't give you the same attachment that a human does. So, yeah. The other thing is that, as Carl has said repeatedly, like he just finds ways to deal with his problems. Like he cybers with an AI all the time. So, no judgment, but it's one of those things where why don't you just go do that with a human? Might be good for you. I mean Chase is kind of volunteered in a lot of ways. So, you know.
Yes. And one of the good things I think Echo points out in this is that on this route,
Mhm.
they do point out that I think they used the word maladaptive in
Yeah.
regard to Carl's coping mechanisms.
Yeah, so let's just break that down for people because there's probably somebody out there who doesn't understand what that term means. So when we're talking about whenever you hear the term maladaptive or adaptive, that's usually in reference to a coping mechanism. So what is a coping mechanism? Whenever something bad happens to you, or that could be a really stressful event, that could be you get yelled at by your boss, stressful event. That could be something really sad happens, probably also a stressful event. But anyway, something happens and you feel the need to cope. You feel the need to soothe yourself, your mind, your body, and deal with this stressor. So, and a healthy coping mechanism, or I guess you could say an adaptive coping mechanism in this case, would be like meditating, or be like meditation, or journaling, or going for a jog. Listening to music can work, but it needs to be something that you can do on your own for the most part that allows you to just get rid of the stress. Specifically, get rid of it, not just sit there and bury it. So, this is why journaling and meditation is really great. You'll be able to sit there and actually deal with this problem instead of burying it.
And
Maladaptive.
those methods
Oh,
are
good.
called proadaptive, right?
I guess. I
Or is it just properly well? Are they well adapted? I don't know. I know
mm,
maladaptive specifically is like bad.
yeah, yeah. I think they might just be called healthy coping mechanisms,
That sounds right.
but we can also just call them adaptive. So we have something that's an easy comparison to maladaptive. So when we look at the word mal, well, you see mal, it's a prefix from Latin, and we see that in like malus, which is the opposite of a bonus. So a malus would be a negative, a bonus would be a positive. Um,
Malicious.
yeah, malicious.
Also in Spanish,
Yeah,
mal is bad.
yeah.
Malísimo.
So like, mm, I'm trying to think of like, so I think benef. Bene
beneficial.
is like bene is good and
Yeah,
mal is bad.
beneficial. Yeah,
However, we really stepped away from words like saying, "Oh well, beneficial,
benevolent,
maleficial." Yeah, it doesn't really
benevolent.
work. But
Yeah,
so mal just means bad. So when we have maladaptive coping mechanisms, that's bad coping mechanisms. That's coping mechanisms that aren't actually helping you heal at all. So
kind
that
of
would,
like taking a band-aid and just covering up the wound, but the the band-aid actively prevents the wound from healing. You just don't feel the pain anymore.
yeah, it's kind of like this.
And
So you have a wound and you slap a bandage on it. Well, you didn't clean the wound out, so it's not going to really get better. And when it comes time, and when that wound starts bothering you again, instead of taking the bandage off and properly dressing the wound so it will heal, you just slap another bandage on top of it. And so the wound starts to fester. And you just keep slapping bandages on top of this wound. And, eventually your arm eventually you look like Popeye with your, paper cut on your wrist, on the top of your wrist or something. But Um, yeah, it's turned into this full blown infection. But it isn't going to kill you because just in this case, we'll say, but it's just this full blown infection. It's festered, but you just keep slapping more bandages on it. And what's insidious about this is that you have to start slapping larger and larger bandages on it. You have to start and think about these bandages as just more mental energy. At first, it's a little bit of mental energy, and then as the infection gets worse, you have to start progressively slapping larger and larger bandages on it until eventually you just can't slap a larger bandage on it, and that's when stuff goes bad. But mal means bad. So what would be an example of a maladaptive coping mechanism? So one of them is
let's
what.
use Carl. Let's use Carl as an example of what this, because we can actually see it, and we actually see the maladaptive coping mechanism in progress and for ourselves through Chase, and then I hopefully we'll see him improve.
Yeah. So with Carl, the example of this would be isolation. So he likes to isolate. He likes video games. He likes porn, is a big one. And whenever he gets scared, he retreats into these things. That tends to be a big thing. He's isolated. I don't know if I've said that yet. But the big things are isolation, video games, porn, and drugs. So in this case, marijuana, if not other things as well. So the thing to keep in mind about Carl is that he does actually do things. Like he is productive. Like he spent a year, you know, organizing the crawl space. So I mean, he is doing things. It's just they're not really. It's just whenever he gets stressed, he has to go to other things. He has to go to these maladaptive coping mechanisms. So why is isolation so bad? Well, part of your brain is actually hardwired. Human brains are hardwired towards social interaction. Like pro-social behavior, pro meaning for, and then social. Pro is like for or supporting. Social behavior is one of the ways that your body actually kind of relieves stress in some ways. The example here is if you feel bad, like you feel really, really bad, part of you wants to isolate because you're a wounded animal. The However, that is the opposite of what you should do. You should instead go hang out with other people so that they can, because they will see that you're hurting and they will comfort you. That's kind of just how humans are. We see other people who are in pain and we want to do something about that. We want to talk to them. We want to hang out with them. Um, Guys will tend to show this in a more aggressive sort of teasing, mocking way, and unless they realize that you're really, really hurting, at which point they'll go more for an empathetic, sympathetic sort of strategy. Women will tend to skip that first part and go straight for empathy and sympathy, whichever one seems to be working for you more. Usually empathy. Yeah, but most of the time, people around you who care about you will get towards showing you compassion. So, eventually, when they realize you're in pain. So isolation's bad for you. However, it's safe and it's easy. And what you're going to find is that most maladaptive coping mechanisms are safe, low risk, and easy. If I'm hurt, if I close my door, turn off all the lights, and just sit in a corner or go to bed or sleep or something, then that is easy. I just have to, drop some sleeping pills and go to bed. No problem. I wake up, 8 hours later or 6 hours later, and I feel better. Okay, sounds good. Sometimes that's a good thing to do. However, sometimes not. So, sleeping can also be a maladaptive coping mechanism. So the whole idea that sometimes you just need to sleep. That's it. Like sometimes that's the best thing you can do right now. Other times, if you use sleep to deal with your problems too much, that can be a big issue because you're basically just taking 6 hours of your life and deleting it. But the emotional pain goes away. So, or at least it gets deadened. Okay, so isolation, bad when it's overdone. And people tend to overdo it because it starts off really easy and then it basically is a slippery slope of every time I'm stressed out, I want to be alone. Not a good idea. Video games. Video games can be great. They really can be. Okay, you had a stressful day at work, you sit down, you play a game for, 3, 4 hours or whatever, and you feel great. You just had a ton of fun playing this video game, It's RimWorld, and you got invaded by some raiders and you captured two of them, and then you trained up your doctors by cutting off their arms and legs, cutting off the raiders' arms and legs, and then putting peg legs and peg arms on them. And doing this repeatedly so that they, get skilled up on surgery.
I guess
Fantastic.
that's also a bit of catharsis for you because you're hurting the people that hurt you during the day.
Yeah, right. And then, you have these raiders who are now, walking around on like peg legs and stuff in their prison cells. And then, eventually you get them incredibly high on flake, which is on flake and yayo, which is basically crack and cocaine. And you get them high on all these drugs, so they're super addicted. Then you send them back to their colony. Their problem now. But
And they have to deal with like the peg leg, the peg armed, peg legged.
I mean, you're kind of just hoping that they show up again later in a raid because they'll just be completely useless. Um,
Yeah, that is true too.
so, there are things that you can do that can work out just fine. Some people will go home and they'll stress out playing something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or what have you. And it's super stressful, but it's a good type of stress because you're in control. You can set the stress level. And so,
I'm not in control when Godric's kicking my ass for the 25th time.
yes, you are, because you can just leave and go level up and get a little bit better. Or, specifically, while he's kicking your ass, instead of trying to beat him, you're trying to learn him instead. That's the mistake a lot of people make with Soulsborne games. Is like, a good thing to do is to just focus on the boss and learn all the boss's moves, and then you can master it really easily. It just takes a while.
So you can try to beat him, or you can learn him, then you can earn him.
Mm-hmm. You can earn that victory.
Earn that Godric booty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're gonna bend him over. You can be like, Godric.
Oh.
He's just like, bow before me. He's like, bow before me.
Your turn.
Dude, I thought that was funny because, like, I never realized because the music's always so loud that Godric actually has voice lines that he says. He has barks. And one of
Yeah,
them is like, he's like, bow before me. And
yeah.
he's like,
Whenever he's like slamming his axe into the ground to make the shockwaves, like bow before me.
yeah. Yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah, you just turn the music off. It's just like
Yeah.
I think I did that. I was like fucking annoying. Fucking music is fucking annoying me, and I turned it off. And I was like bow before me. Fuck you.
It's like, oh, he actually has voice lines. Okay. I wonder who else
Voice
has
lines.
voice lines. Like, is Melania just talking the entire time in her fight?
Yeah,
Um,
she's just like this constant talker.
she's like, I
Like
have never been
very
defeated.
very chatty.
Okay,
Oh my
so
gosh, it would be so funny if she was actually just chatting about her day the entire time. It's like got like the total like schoolgirl thing where she's just like chatting about her friends going to the mall and everything. She's just there just like whooping your ass.
my soldiers went to the mall, and I stayed here with my hand on my tree. Oh, Mikla.
All right, so let's go ahead and do our little surprise. We have to do it together because it's supposed
So
to be everyone.
let's finish these coping mechanisms real quick. So video
Let's
games.
wrap it up.
Then
Wrap it
there's
up.
what was the other ones that we went with? Porn. Porn's a big one. It gives you a lot of dopamine really quickly. It makes you feel good about yourself. A lot of people use it to go to sleep. And then pot. Drugs. Drugs tend to give you a ton of neurotransmitters, pretty much just dropping it right into your system. And so he uses those whenever he feels stressed out. He goes and gets high because it makes him feel better about himself, makes him happy. So those are the big ones. And those are maladaptive. They're bad for you. However, some maladaptive coping mechanisms are actually useful in their own ways. And other times, using healthy adaptive coping mechanisms are going to be what you really want to be focusing on. But every now and again, you'll get overwhelmed, and your proper healthy coping mechanisms won't be enough. Go ahead and use a maladaptive one, and then afterwards, when you've calmed the hell down, then go in with healthy adaptive coping mechanisms and deal with all of that. Now that it's been suppressed, now that it's been brought down, now that it's not going to just completely destroy you right here and now. Okay, big ones.
Yeah, because I
So,
think there is one very specific point about what really is maladaptive and what is adaptive,
mm-hmm.
and that is it becomes maladaptive when it starts interfering with your life.
Yeah, yeah, and also
So
when you focus on it too much. Yeah,
yeah, so you can use a maladaptive one to help you get over like a really stressful event, as long as it doesn't become the only one and interferes with like the rest of your life. Then you know, then it's okay. But if it becomes your only source of like coping, then that's when it really becomes a problem, and you really need to look into something else. So that'd be hang out with Flynn some more, go find the side character for this route, hang out with him some more, go find some other friends and hang out with them some more. Go find new friends,
yeah.
go do pot with some friends, go have like a little pot outing somewhere.
You have a potluck. Oh,
Uh, from our I think it was it this one? No, no, it's a generous route. I'm not going to spoil it, but Carl's got to get his drugs from somewhere.
oh yeah,
He doesn't grow them himself, so maybe hang out with those folks.
yeah. Maybe.
Maybe find other customers, and hopefully they're not all doing other worse stuff.
Yeah, I assume that there's a trap house in Echo somewhere.
Always
So
got to be.
yeah, so yeah, but yeah, maladaptive coping mechanisms, they tend to feed off of themselves, and they tend to get worse, and then they tend to just take over. Like that's really
Yeah,
the problem. And maladaptive coping mechanisms tend to lead to other maladaptive coping mechanisms. That tends to be the problem. It's a bit of a slippery slope. And
yeah.
yeah, so those of you at home who are going through some tough shit, make sure you go journal. Make sure you go
Yeah.
meditate. Like, it'll take a
And
while. It won't be as good as just, spending the next 8 hours playing a video game that you really like. But, and it will take work. But proper healthy coping mechanisms deal with your problems. And another thing that's super, 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 super important. I just want to get this out of the way before we continue, which is the sooner you feel an emotion and process that emotion, the sooner that emotion goes away.
yeah,
You
I kind of
gotta,
wanted to. I kind of wanted you to talk about this just because, like, if anyone is stuck in a rut and you know, just the topic of that struck you really hard, or it kind of made you flinch a little bit or whatever, uh, yeah, that's probably something for you to take a look at. Look at it internally to yourself. You don't necessarily need to talk to anybody, but if you think it is important enough and you think you are, and you just never really realized, yeah, reach out to someone that you know, someone that you trust, or go talk to someone. They are legally bound to not talk about, anything to talk about with you, specifically talking about a counselor or therapist.
yeah,
And they are legally bound to not talk to anyone else about it unless you are going to hurt yourself
yeah,
or
outside,
worse.
yeah, outside of very specific circumstances that they will happily tell you about.
Yeah,
They will. There's something called, I think it's called clinician client privilege.
it's like I think it's like client. It's like
I think in this case it's like client therapist privilege or something like that, or
yeah,
client mental
something like that.
health. But basically, they can't um, tell anybody about what's going on outside of very specific circumstances, which they can happily tell you about. If they do tell people that and violate that, then they can just lose their license.
Yeah, so
Fun thing.
yeah.
So they would be in violation of HIPAA if they did tell people about that. And HIPAA violations are about 10 grand a pop.
Ooh, so
So,
yeah,
yeah. I don't think they want to go and tell one of their friends and like snicker about you behind your back when that's going to cost them like at least 10 grand to do that. I
yeah.
think they'd just
That's
rather
a
keep that to themselves.
that's like a couple months worth of income, I think.
Um, not really. But,
But yeah,
but
they
yeah,
don't go talking about that because loose lips lose their license.
yeah. And to be honest,
Literally.
people who do go and become therapists and counselors, they do actually genuinely want to help you. Sometimes they're super burnt out, right? Sometimes, like, you're the 50th client they've had this week, which is insane for a therapist, by the way. 50 clients per week is insane. Um, so, just keep in mind,
Yeah. So
they're actually there because they want to help you.
yeah.
Yeah, and
All right. Whoop.
go ahead and like leave comments here, the YouTube videos
Yeah.
below.
Good comments.
Yeah, we're happy to talk to you. I'll probably
Yeah.
start a Discord at some point, and we'll see where things go. But
Yeah. We can chat, and then we got a small community, but you
yeah,
got a big one too. So reach out.
yeah. So yeah,
All right.
all right. Are
So
you
ready?
ready?
All right. On three, we all got to say surprise. I'm gonna do Leo's. And I guess you're due Carl or Chase
Yeah, sure.
or
I can do
Jenna.
Chase or Jenna.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
3, 2, 1. Surprise!
Surprise!
Happy not really your birthday, bitch.
As I open the door, a blast of confetti hits my face, along with a loud pop that leaves my ears ringing. TJ, not in the face. Sorry. Go,
Sorry. Thought I was doing GJ.
go for it. I slowly pull the papery strings of confetti off from around my ears, and the smell of fireworks as the smell of fireworks stings my nose.
Where the fuck's Carl?
I look behind me and step over to the side a bit, revealing Carl, who's got his arms folded tightly, head dipped.
Good thing I didn't answer the door, huh? Happy birthday!
Leo bustles in, carrying 2 bags. Jenna follows, carrying medium-sized cylindrical cake covered in white frosting. Carl perks up a bit when he sees this, his long ears bouncing.
Hey, is that red velvet?
Yeah, Flynn says it's your favorite. Store made though. I would have made it myself if Leo had warned us in advance.
She's a baker, you go girl. Hey, I just came up with this like 2 days ago.
Flynn engages Carl with some fake punches while Leo sets the bags down on the table before turning to me with his low voice.
So, just so you know, your gift is a hornband.
Okay, so is everything alright? With Flynn, I mean? Leo glances over at the lizard, quirking the corner of his mouth up towards his ear.
Yeah, I think so. It will take a bit of time for him to settle down, but he already sorta apologized while you were gone. So that's a start, at least, yeah?
I exhale. Okay. Carl, where are your plates?
Oh, the cupboard. Second door over.
Now that Flynn's not shoving him around, Carl's standing awkwardly next to the table, paws fidgeting.
So, why are we doing this? It's not until next month.
Leo shrugs, frowning.
We just. Oh, sorry, that was Carl. We just wanted to do something, really. I mean, there's not much to do, you know?
You have candles anywhere, Carl?
No. No, I don't think so. What's up, man? Haven't had your morning joint yet? Lighten up!
Flynn snatches up one of Carl's horns and wobbles his head around. Well, it's something Flynn did to Carl a lot. The taboo act of grabbing someone.
The tobacco act?
Yeah, the tobacco act. The taboo act of grabbing someone's horns. Grabbing someone's horn almost makes me gasp out loud.
Stop!
Carl shoves Flynn off and smooths his beanie down. Well, I guess we'll have to skip the candles. I told you we should have bought some, Leo. Leo throws his arms out in a shrug.
What? Sue me if I thought they'd have everything we need in this mansion. No kidding. You know how places you haven't been to since you were little look smaller when you visit as an adult?
TJ's eyes scan around the tall ceilings.
This place still looks giant. Sure, Tej.
Carl huffs out of breath.
Why didn't you guys tell me? I still need to take a shower. Quit being a pussy. You always smell like skunk. Now eat some cake!
Flynn grabs the knife while Jenna sets out the plates. The frosting is so thick it practically absorbs the knife. I haven't had cake for breakfast since, your last birthday party, Carl. Carl doesn't say anything, instead sitting at the end of the table, paws in his pockets.
You guys sure slept in. What were you doing all night?
I wait to see if Carl's going to say anything. When it's clear he isn't, I chime in. Video games, mostly, and a movie.
Fun. Is something we could have all done together, though. Maybe for people who don't have a job to go to the next day.
I don't think that was a personal dig at Carl, but I don't miss the downward flick of his ears. Flynn plops down a thick slice of cake onto Carl's plate, the inch-deep frosting making a splattering sound.
Maybe we should just stick a Dobie in there and light it, huh?
Carl, who had perked up at the sight of the cake, shrinks back down with a frown.
Just a small slice, please.
Flynn eyes TJ, who's holding out his plate, and positions the knife.
Smaller, please. Oh my god, loosen up! You're on vacation!
Flynn starts cutting the slice even bigger than Carl's was.
Hey!
Flynn? She says it quietly, but the chill in her voice is clear. And so is the fact that things aren't completely okay. Flynn. Flynn grunts, then cuts the cake again, this time with a slice that's just an inch wide.
Is that good? Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
TJ moves away to sit down, and the warm glow of our little get-together chills. But Leo chirps in with a laugh.
Make sure Chase gets a real big chunk. He's getting way too skinny.
I don't argue with Flynn. And Flynn slaps down a large slice on my plate, a little notch in the center where he'd tried to cut TJ's. I sit in the vacant seat next to Carl, where he's resting a cheek on his paw, methodically shoveling the cake into his maw. Everything okay?
Oh, yeah. Everything's good.
I'm about to ask more, but Flynn points across the table at us.
Hey, Leo. Want to tell him about what we saw on the way here?
Oh, God, no. I look at Leo inquisitively, and even Carl's ears perk up a little bit. What? Leo purses his lips like he's trying to decide whether or not to tell us.
Now might not be the best time.
Flynn rolls his eyes.
Screw you. Oh, screw it. You know Janice?
The waitress?
Yeah. The methed out one at the diner? Come on, Flynn. Well, anyway, we were driving up Main Street. Toward the field, you know, with the rusted barbed wire and stuff.
TJ's holding his face with a paw as he stares down hard at his cake. Uh-huh.
Well, we turned round the bend. Well, when we turned round the bend, we saw Janice.
He keeps pausing for effect, and it's getting annoying. Okay, so what happened?
Well, she was all crouched over, staring at the road. And Leo starts driving up to her. I thought she was having, like, a heart attack or something. Yeah, well, as we get closer, we saw that her pants were down.
I recoiled a little, not having expected that at all. What?
Yeah. And when we pulled up next to her, she just grinned at us, and then...
Flynn snorts out a laugh, covering his face like he still can't believe what happened.
Can we please not talk about this? It just makes me feel awful.
What?
she. No.
It's unusual to see Flynn at a loss for words.
Well, she just started pissing.
I'm just imagining the look on Flynn's face right now as he's actually secretly looking at Jenna, who probably looks like she's about to beat his ass.
No, he is kind of just like that right now. Huh?
Yeah, I think Flynn knows that like almost everybody in the group can kick his ass. It's like Chase doesn't seem like the most capable fighter, and yet as we saw in one of the other routes, like he can just absolutely obliterate Flynn. So it's
Yeah,
like,
when he's motivated, he can actually fight pretty well.
yeah,
And Flynn just got wiped out.
yeah. So the question then
Flynn
becomes,
is nothing but bluff in this game of poker.
yeah. So then the question becomes, could like Jenna just hold him down and slap him into submission?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she could. I mean, don't foxes eat Gila monsters in real life? So yeah, I think she would have absolutely no problem taking them down.
I mean, there's also the
She
other
could
thing.
probably take down half the people in the group.
Yeah, and like she's shown herself in other routes to be pretty good at fighting.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's very adaptable. She's faster and more maneuverable, more dexterous agile than Leo.
Yeah,
So
and
she
like,
just get him rolling over. She could probably just beat up TJ. Carl, she could probably just like wheel him around and just use his brute strength against him.
His bulk against him. Honestly, I can't imagine there being a scenario where Jenna and TJ end up fighting each other. Like
And
proper
if they
fighting
did,
each other.
I'm pretty sure she would win.
Like I'm pretty sure TJ would like take a swipe at her and be like, and then feel awful about it and be like, sorry.
Scratch her across the nose.
I'm real sorry, but you started it.
Yeah.
I just want to end it.
Like
Start crying.
The very little that I know about Jenna is that she probably comes from a not great part of town. That's all of Echo,
Yeah.
but I think the shtick that I've gotten so far is that she's come from somewhat of a rough background, so she probably knows what she's doing.
Yeah, we could do Route 65, or you could check out mine, not to plug myself too much. I'm doing Jenna's route now, but you could also check out Route 65. I did Carl's route on that.
Not to plug myself, not to plug yourself. I mean, it's almost like your name is in the title.
Plug other videos and series I've done.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it directly links right to you.
If you're on my channel, go ahead and click on Route 65 right now and check that out and see the bad history she does have.
Yeah.
Just can't confirm it's not good. It's pretty fucking bad.
So she just started pissing. What?
So she just started pissing.
What? Why?
I don't know. She just smiled at us and started pissing. Heard it at first, then looked down and saw it. Then Leo hit the gas.
Flynn sits back, done with his story, not exactly looking pleased with himself. He made himself uncomfortable.
I made myself awkward.
I mean, I just started this to make everybody else uncomfortable because that's funny, but now I just feel weird. He's like, man. I mean,
oh, wait, did we say Janice or Jaundice?
We said you said Janice, but that's fine.
Oh no, I broke it. We need to do it over just real quick.
I furrow my brow in confusion. Jaundice? She was one of the more well-adjusted people living in this town. Leo lets out a cough into the awkward silence.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened. Like, maybe we missed something. Either way, she seemed fine a few days ago. Well, now I have more reason to never go into that diner again.
We sit there, awkwardly. I notice Carl is still staring down at his now empty plate. I still can't figure out why Carl's being so quiet, but I see an opportunity to get him to talk. And change the subject from jaundice pissing all over the place.
You're not going to go,
Next, Flynn's going to start telling a story about how she did a headstand and started helicoptering piss all over the place. It'll be so weird.
Marking the entire town as your territory.
And how Leo complained the entire time when he was washing his car.
Every single time I wiped it off, there was another layer! Another layer of spray! It's disgusting.
The ammonia has burnt its way into the paint. Now my car just looks like piss. All right.
And I'm drenched.
Oh, man. It's like Swords. That one Funny or Die thing ages ago.
oh God.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. On guard, and it just starts the whole thing when they're just fighting. Sword fight! For the PP.
Hey, didn't we have some weird stuff happen, Carl? Carl looks up at me.
Huh?
You know, the sounds we were hearing?
Oh. Yeah. What kind of sounds?
Like bumping sounds. And voices.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, and Carl just charged down there like he wasn't even scared.
That seems dangerous.
Carl finally gives a little smile.
Well, well, having a hard head can make you act crazy sometimes. So, did you find anything?
No, we're not sure what it was.
I'd watch out. Sounds like you got a pair of hobos banging out in your basement.
As we eat, Jenna leans over and starts pulling out presents from one of the bags. Sorry, Carl. We didn't have time to wrap these up.
It's fine.
She pulls out a comic book from TJ, a poster from Leo, and a manga from herself. She pulls out a comic book from TJ, a poster from Leo, and a manga from herself. Evidently chased out a sex change for just a second. I know you hate these things, but I think you should give it a glance.
I'll take a look. Thanks.
And this horn band is from Chase. She pulls out a orange and black band from the bag. The colors of my school. Carl's former school.
Oh,
He seems to be struggling to find something to say.
thanks. I didn't know people still wore these.
Leo suddenly shifts against the counter, realizing that he had to explain my present.
Well, they're making a comeback. We saw a couple rams and then a stag that had like 5 of them on.
Carl glances at me, and I can tell he probably knows I didn't get it for him. Mainly because the university logo and also because we'd made fun of them together a few years ago about how bro-y they were. I don't know if I should feel embarrassed or not, but my cheeks burn anyway. I promise myself to get him something thoughtful the next time we go into Peyton.
Yeah, well, here's mine.
It's just like a bucket full of, like, piss. Straight from the source.
No. Here's jaundice's.
It's the jaundice bucket challenge. Oh, oh. Flynn reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small hidden in his paw. He hands it to Carl, who looks confused for a second before the expression turns to one of interest.
Whoa.
It's a small, metal, rectangular box with two sharp points jutting out the top. I lean in for a closer look and realize those parts are horns, and there's a complex, elegant design of a ram's face etched out at the front of the box. Carl presses a thumb against one of the horns and pushes. The top flicks up and out. The top flicks up and over, and that's when I realize it's a lighter.
Saw it when I was over on the reservation. Made me think of you.
He reaches out and traces a finger along the horns and clicks it back shut.
Thanks, Flynn. Yeah. Now... now you look like a badass when you decide to get blazed. Yeah.
Oh! Sorry!
We all jump and look over at TJ, who's looking at the floor, his plate gone from the table. Flynn starts to laugh but catches himself. Don't worry about it. They probably got 100 of these plates. Carl, where's your broom? He doesn't say anything, and we look at where Carl had been sitting a few seconds before. But he's gone, and so is another portion of the cake. Huh? Where'd he go?
Hey, check between the wall and the fridge. I think that's where I remember seeing it.
TJ gets down on his hands and knees and starts picking up the larger pieces. I look back at Carl's spot, then up the stairs. I'll be right back. Bathroom.